Okay, so period 3 is picking up in the middle of page 624. Again, this is the middle of page 624. And the basic ideas that we came up with from our cube activity is that volume is basically the area of the base, which in the case of a rectangle is length times width, times the height. So in a rectangular prism, the volume is going to be length times width times height. Okay, the other big idea that we came up with in class was that if we have a full unit cube, it takes 8 half unit cubes to make one full unit cube. Okay, and you can come play with unit cubes with me any day in math lab if you have a question about that. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is make a connection. Understand that if we do the half unit cube thing activity, or we do the formula, length times width times height, we will get the same answer. So you should already have written down that the area of that particular rectangular prism is 10.5 cubic units. And we did that by getting the idea that it's 84 little half unit cubes divided by 8, because there's 8 in a full unit cube. That's how we got that. So now we're going to do this with mixed numbers. So if we have, wait, I wrote the wrong number. If we have a width of 1.5 and we have a height of 2, well, we have to turn our mixed numbers into fractions. We remember that from earlier in the year. So that's 7 over 2 times 3 over 2 times 2, right? Then we multiply the top and the bottom, and we get 7 times 3 is 21 times 2 is 42. And then we have in our denominator 4. And if you guys remember from before, we had the fraction 84 divided by 8. Well, 84 divided by 8 is equivalent to 42 over 4, right? So that's actually 10 groups of 4 plus 2 left over. So that's 10.5, which is the same as 10.5 cubic units. So the big idea here is that length times width times height is the same as the cubic unit method. Okay. If you want to do page 625 problems without the assistance of this video, turn the video off right now and do the page 625 problems without the assistance of this video. If you would like the assistance, I'll continue. Okay. So a prism is filled with 38 cubes with a side length of half a unit. What is the volume of the prism in cubic units? Well, 38 divided by 8 is 4 with 6 left over, 4 and 6/8, right? Which is 4.75. So the volume is 4.75 cubic units. Now, prism is filled with 58 cubes with a side length of a half a unit. What is the volume of the prism in cubic units? So again, we do 58 divided by 8. 8 goes into 5 0 times. 8 goes into 58 7 times. We get 56. We get 2 left over. We bring down a 0. We put in a decimal. 8 goes into 22 times. 16, 4. We have to bring down another 0. And we get 7.25 cubic units. Okay? That is the volume of the prism in cubic units. Okay. So now, to do this way, I would do 3 times 15, and 5.5 is 11 over 2. So I would do 3 times 11 over 2 times 2. And I would see that these are common factors and that they cancel out. And I would get 33 cubic units. Okay, what if I tried this one? Now this is 4.5 times 4.5 times 4.5, right? It's a cube. So 4.5 is actually 9 over 2 times 9 over 2 times 9 over 2. I'm going to have 9 times 9 is 81. 81 times 9 is actually 729. Oy, oy, oy. 729. Does that when I get too close to the margin. Over 8. And I'm actually going to want to turn that into a real number. Anytime we have geometry, we're going to turn it into a real number. Okay? And so if we try to find some, I'm going to try to find some more space to do that without Theodore. Hang on one second. And you can use your fantastic long division skills to do this. And it's actually not going to be so bad because we already know that 9 times 8 is 72. 72, 0, 9. And this is actually just going to be, anytime we divide by 8, we could have up to 3 decimal places. You should remember that. So now we have a 10. Hang on. A 10. Right? And that's going to go in one time. And I'm sure you guys are seeing the pattern here that we saw many times in that unit 9. Right? So 1 times 8 is 8. Then we have 20. And then we have 2. And if we kept doing it, we would get 0.125. Now, if we did it as a fraction, we would get 91 and 1/8. Whichever is easier for you, that's the way you can roll, and that is cubic units. Okay. And by the way, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, and 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So our answer makes sense because it's right in the middle there. Okay. Going deeper. So Theodore wants to put 3 flowering plants in his window box. The window box is shaped like a rectangular prism that is 30.5 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 6 inches deep. Okay, now 6 times 6 is 36. 30 times 36 is already going to be over 900. So these are big numbers. But the question is, these 3 plants need a total of 1,200 inches. Is the box large enough? Could we put 1,200 inches of potting soil in there? So I am just going to write that below. So 30.5 is actually 61 over 2. Are you with me on that? By the way, you can multiply them as decimals if that is easier for you. And then times 6 times 6, which we know is times 36. So the reason that this is helpful for us, right, area, volume is length times width times height, is that 36 divided by 2, well, we know that that's 18. So in fact, our final answer is 61 times 18. And we can multiply. So 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 60 is 480. And then we put a placeholder 0 because 10 times 1 is actually 10. And 10 times 60 is actually 600. And if you take a quick look at this number that we're getting here, 8, 9, 10, is that enough space? No. 1098 cubic inches is fewer than 1,200 cubic inches. It won't work. Okay. And we're not going to do this problem. So if you finish these problems, you are done. Good job, period 3. Have a nice day.